we were asking you as part of this debate, and what question do you wish we were asking your opponent, and why? And we begin with John.
Well, the question I wish you were asking me is, how are my dogs doing? Because I love to talk about them, okay? They are not voting. This is not Philadelphia, or maybe they could. Why are some people upset with that comment? I'm not sure about that. I think the question I want to hear most addressed to me and to Richard is the same question. Where do you really stand on the sanctity of human life? In the summer on Terry Tomasetti's show, Richard said that I have the pro-life ranking of the Pennsylvania Federation for Pro-Life, and I'm very proud of that. But they had not made any rating yet, so I don't know why he was making that claim. And secondly, they did ultimately rate him as leaning pro-life, but that is over the objection of our local group, the Blair Citizens Concerned for Human Life. They have rated me 100% pro-life. They don't doubt for a second that I'm pro-life. And though you don't think that's an important issue to be asked, and marriage is not an important issue to be talked about, folks, our civilization depends on us respecting human life. We need to revere people, and we need to protect the foundation unit of our society, which is the family. And that starts with recognizing that that marriage is between a man and a woman. And the reason I want a constitutional amendment to define it that way is because any judge in this state can obviate that law that you referred to. That's why we need a constitutional amendment, to take it out of some judge's discretion to say that, oh, marriage can be anything. It can be any arrangement that anybody thinks is okay. Just as the Supreme Court said with Doe v. Bolton, that anything justifies an abortion the same day they released Roe v. Wade. So that's the question I want to answer. That's the question I want to address. That's what I want you to take out of here, is how committed I am to life and its protection. And I want to make sure that if my opponent gets elected, he is just as firmly committed, willing to vote to defund Planned Parenthood, willing to say on record that Roe v. Wade should be reversed, and that we can take that sort of sanctity and the protection of life to the state level.
Thank you. Richard?
Well, certainly on abortion, I have been very clear that I am pro-life. I was quite clear when I sent in the evaluation of the Pennsylvania Pro-Life Federation that when Roe v. Wade is overturned, and that's actually literally the question, when Roe v. Wade is overturned, will you vote to create a ban in Pennsylvania on abortion? In all cases, I said no to that. And will you vote for a ban on abortion except in the cases of rape, incest, and the life of the mother? And I said yes to that. All right? And so I've been quite clear on that. Now, was there a spat, so to speak? Yes, there was a spat because, of course, Terry Tomasetti, who asked me that question, is one of your big supporters. And, of course, it's no big secret that that's a partisan support. So obviously there's a lot of partisan politics involved in this. That association that you're talking about is not exactly the most independent association that's out there. But I think that, again, the bigger issues, what really faces everybody in this community? It's about jobs. Jobs are what face this community. Support of our community. We have Altoonas going into Act 47 distress status. This is something that we may never, ever get out of. One of the things that happens to a lot of these distressed cities is they just keep increasing taxes, which then runs people further away. We need to spur on more economic growth in the city of Altoona. So I think the question that you need to be asking is, we have a history of doing things for the community. And I think you should be digging up the history and asking and questioning, well, you know what? You said this not just 2 months ago when we're both running for office and under the public view, and we know that all the cameras are everywhere. I say go back 10 years, go back 15 years, 5 years, whatever. Go back a long time ago and see what we said. And see how what we said then perhaps differs from what we're saying now. I think that's the job of what you should be doing. That's the job of the media. I hope that the media is up to that challenge. And what you said about that show, you know what? You made no mention on that show with Tomasetti about sales tax. Not a single mention about sales tax. You just said we should get rid of it and it should not be revenue neutral. should not be revenue neutral. You know, replacing sales tax property tax with sales tax, you know, I might be for that. That might be a compromise that I could see happen. But that's a revenue neutral replacement. Okay, you actually said you would get rid of it. And by the way, if anyone wants to know, we'll put that up on YouTube on our website today, and we'll make sure that everybody out there is able to actually see what he really said. And I would also encourage, why aren't the questions about what have you written in the past? Whether it's about drugs, I know that the Altoona Mirror questioned what you wrote about drugs. You've actually advocated not once, twice, 3, 4 times, I think it's more than that we should legalize drugs because it's about life and liberty. I say that when you're hooked on drug addiction, there is no liberty. You are hidden behind walls of addiction. So I say that to protect life and liberty, we need to make sure that we fight a war on drugs. John, rebuttal?
Well, first of all, you didn't answer the question. The question was, what question did he want to answer, and what question would he ask of me? I wouldn't have shirked from him asking me a question the way he shirks from Terry Tomasetti asking him a question. Notice, too, by the way, that he got off point really quickly. The challenge to him was, where do you stand on life and how important it is for our society and for our Commonwealth, and for our district, for that matter. And quickly he went, jobs, 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 jobs. Well, if you want to decide your vote on November 6th by who has better program for the economy, trust me, you need to go with me. Because I'm a capitalist and I understand what it takes to make an economy work. And one of the things it takes, the first thing it takes is people. And the second thing it takes is freedom. And with free people, you can have any economy you want. Without freedom, you won't have any economy at all.
Thank you. Richard?
It is about jobs and investment. And by the way, I did answer the question about what should they ask me and what should they ask you. I said, ask us about our past. I made that quite clear. Ask us about our past. I said why they should ask us about our past. And the same with me, because if you look in my past, you'll see that I'm actually a supporter of our community. I always have. I've done things to build up this community ever since I've lived here. Now, in terms about jobs, yes, it should be about jobs, but I don't think the view of jobs that you have. You think that the way we're going to create jobs is cutting everything in government and thinking that somehow miraculously jobs are going to sprout out from nowhere. As a business owner, I know that it takes money to make money. If you don't spend money, investing money in your own business, you will not make a dime. It's about investment makes money. Money makes money. And so what we need to do as a government is we need to do the smart job investments that we need. We need to invest in our future, whether that's with protecting our streets, whether that's with providing education, or whether that's developing the infrastructure to drive our cars on natural gas. These are the smart investments that we need to make for jobs in the future.
Thank you. That concludes our questions. At this time, we're going to invite the candidates to make a 2-minute closing statement. And for this, we begin with candidate John McGinnis.
In 19 days, America will reach a turning point towards liberty or a point of no return towards European socialism. The stakes are never going to be higher, and your vote is never going to matter more. In the 79th, you have a choice between someone who styles himself as a moderate, comfortable with big government, growing even bigger, or myself, who is pledged to uphold the sanctity of human life, the dignity of personal liberty, while reining in the excessive spending of an overreaching government. We have serious economic and social problems in our Commonwealth and in our nation. And Ronald Reagan said it best, government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem. A vote for John McGinnis is a vote to return to the root principles of our founding, consistent with those marvelous words in our state's Constitution. We, the people of the Commonwealth, grateful to Almighty God for the blessings of civil and religious liberty, humbly invoke His guidance. The recrudescence of our heritage will be the surest path to a future of prosperity and achievement in our Commonwealth. On November 6th, vote for John McGinnis for state representative and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof.
Thank you. Richard, 2 minutes.
Well, I want to thank the Blair Chamber for sponsoring this debate and for supporting all the businesses in our community. You've certainly heard a lot today, and after talking with thousands of voters, I know that most people, including yourselves, I'm sure, are very critical of would-be politicians such as myself and my opponent. You should be. There have been too many elected officials who go off to office only to serve their own ambition or their own self-interest. James Madison, over 200 years ago, wrote about that that's what most politicians are going to do. So you need to make sure that when you vote for someone, you're voting for someone who's actually going to support the community and work for the community good, not work for their own agenda. So I say, don't take my word for what I'm going to say, and don't take my opponent's word for what he's going to do. You should look into my past and that of my opponent's past. Don't just look at the last 1 year. Look in the last 5, 10, 15 years, more, whatever. Okay? Look and see what we have done to support our community, or at least what I've done to support the community. And it goes without saying that someone's past is the best indicator of their future. So when you see someone who's worked tirelessly for 15 years to support this community, you can be rest assured that somehow they're not going to spontaneously change on November 6th or January 1st. They're going to continue to be that same person that they always have been. And I'll be there to represent this community. And as a business owner, I also know what it takes to support jobs and to create jobs in this community. And I will do that. I will work tirelessly to create jobs in this community because that's what we need to build up this city and to continue to make Altoona a safe place, a great place to live, a great place to work, and a great place to raise a family. This is why I ask for your vote on November 6th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to thank both of our candidates for their participation today and for their candor in helping the Blair County business community to gain a better understanding of where they stand on these several vital issues. It would not be inappropriate at this time for you to applaud them. I also want to thank those in our audience today for listening intently and displaying, for the most part, a quiet professional demeanor. These candidates have been working very hard to earn your respect as they look forward to representing you and your interests. For those people in our community who were unable to attend this morning, it is important to mention that this debate has been taped and will be broadcast on 4 different occasions on the Altoona Public Access Channel prior to the general election. Call the Chamber office to learn the dates and times of these broadcasts, and please encourage others to take the time to watch the debate on the Access Channel. Lastly, I would ask that you do what all of us should never need to be reminded to do: vote. Election day is November 6th. Don't miss the opportunity to be part of the solution. Thank you all for participating and for coming out today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.